Alrighty, I've got one of my all-time favorite dinners. It's bacon egg pie. It's really simple and it's super quick to make. I think from start to finish and into the oven, it took around 20 minutes. So it's super handy for a quick meal. And serve it with a side of salad, and you got yourself a perfect dinner for your flat or your family and friends.
We will start with our onions first. So we're just going to get a large onion, we're just going to dice it. I'm going to stick it into a hot pan with a little bit of oil like we've got right here, and just cook these until they soften. Midway through we're going to want to season it slightly with a little bit of salt and pepper, and right at the end when everything's nice and soft we're going to stick in a teaspoon of dried mixed herbs, or you can do oregano. It's really up to you. Once these all softened, you don't want to brown them at all, you just want to soften them. We can take these off the heat and put them aside, and give our pan a quick wipe down with a paper towel, and we're just going to fry our bacon. Now I've got around 450 grams of bacon here, and it's quite simple. All we're going to do is just fry it off until both sides have got a nice brown colour to them. You don't want to dry them out, so don't cook them for too long. Here you can use any type of bacon. You can use your streaky bacon, your shoulder bacon, your middle bacon. It's up to you. Ultimately it's you that's going to be eating the pie, so you choose what type of bacon you want to work with. So we're just going to put this aside, and we're just going to work on constructing our pie itself. It's really quite simple, so just keep watching. Once our bacon is cooled down out of the fry pan, so we're not going to burn our fingertips off, we're just going to slice them into around 1 inch sort of wide strips. Now if you're already cooking with bacon strips, don't worry about the step. The strips are just a lot more versatile in constructing your pie itself. So we've got our pie dish here. You can use any shape you want. I've got my rectangular one. We're just going to lightly grease the pie dish itself with a little bit of butter before sticking in our puff pastry for the bottom layer. Now make sure our pastry is pushed up against the side of our pie tin, and if you've got a join like I have, just crimp it down with a fork just so it doesn't split when you're cooking it. Okay, there's no strict way in which you construct your pie. I've always done it in layers, so what we're going to start with is going to stick on our bottom layer of bacon. Put in roughly just enough bacon strips to cover the bottom. Bear in mind that you're going to be doing several of these layers within the pie, so just save enough of the onions and bacon to go through different layers. So we're going to put our bacon in, we're going to stick in our fried onions, and we're also, I've chosen to stick in some frozen peas. I think peas are really good in this pie. The added sweetness and juiciness when you bite into one is absolutely perfect. So you don't have to put them in, you can stick with bacon and eggs. I've just used these. And to finish off one layer, we're going to crack in whole eggs. So I'm going to stick in 5 eggs in this layer. Normally it's around 4 to 5. Make sure you try to distribute the eggs evenly so the entire layer is filled up with the egg white. Before we move on to our next sort of bacon layer, we're just going to get a fork and we're just going to poke the yolks of our egg just so they run a little bit throughout our pie. When they cook, you're going to have this beautiful sort of distribution of egg yolk. We're just going to continue this layering of bacon, onions, peas and then eggs until we run out of mainly our bacon and our onions, until they're all used up, and we should be sitting roughly flush with the top of our pie dish. Alright, so we've got our eggs on top. I've only used a couple here. Throughout the whole pie I've used around 9 eggs. You can use less or more if you want, it's up to you. Alright, so we're just going to put in our top of our pastry now. So just put our pastry across the top of our pie, and make sure that you crimp the edges of the pastry together with your fingers. And if you've got a join like I have here, just make sure you press lightly so the pastry sticks together and it doesn't split when we're cooking it. So just roll over our edges, our joined edges. We're just going to roll them over until you get this sort of nice rolled crust, and when you cook it, it's going to puff up nice and you can have a nice pie crust. Finally, just to finish off before we stick it into our oven, we're just going to grab a little bit of milk, and then get our brush here and just going to cover our top of our pastry with a little bit of milk. It'll add the browning of the pastry in the oven. You could also use egg yolk here, but seeing that we've used quite a lot of eggs in our pie, milk just does the same thing. So just make sure we cover our entire thing. You can get a little bit fancy here and then put down scoring in the top of our pastry like I'm doing with the back of my knife. It just adds to presentation, but it's not necessary. Whack this puppy into the oven for around 25-30 minutes. You should always check, so once the pastry becomes a nice really golden colour, then everything will be cooked inside, and you'll see that as it cooks it'll start rising. That's because the eggs inside of us are cooking and they're expanding. So like I said, once it's golden, whack it out of the oven and then cut it up into your whatever pieces you need and serve it up. It's really simple. Like I said, super quick, and there should be no excuses why you can't make this at home. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to check out any other of my recipes, and thanks for watching.